The time for the healing of the wounds has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. We understand it still.
Do you know who Nelson Mandela is or what he did?
I think so.
No.
No.
Do you know where he's from?
No.
What did he do?
Did something with people, right? Yeah, like.
Do you know what he did?
Not a clue. No.
Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the Cape Providence of South Africa. His original name, given to him by his tribe, was Rolahala, or Troublemaker. Mandela lived in a village called Kinu with his mother and two sisters, where he tended cattle. When he was young, he attended a Methodist school in order to learn how to read and write, a skill neither of his parents had. In that Methodist school, he was given the name Nelson by his teacher in order to sound more Christian. When he was 9 years old, Nelson Mandela's father came to the village where his mother lived, and where, after some time, he acquired an unknown illness and passed away. After this, Mandela's mother took him to a new town, where he was put under the guardianship of a new family. It was in this new family where Christianity became a major part of his life. Influenced by Walter Sisulu, Nelson Mandela's first involvement with the African National Congress was in 1943. In 1944, soon after joining the ANC, he helped found the African National Congress Youth League, which became one of the most powerful anti-government groups at the time. In 1947, Mandela got his first major leadership role when he was elected to the Executive Committee of the Transvaal ANC. 3 years later, in 1950, Mandela was elected ANC National Executive. 6 years later, in 1956, Nelson Mandela and other ANC executives were arrested for high treason against the state. Weeks later, Mandela posted bail and was released from jail on the terms that he could not leave the country. After a 6-year trial, Nelson Mandela was found not guilty of high treason. On August 5, 1962, Nelson Mandela was arrested and charged with involvement in planning armed action and on conspiracy to help other countries invade South Africa. Almost 2 years later, on June 2, 1964, Mandela was sentenced to life in prison. While in prison, Mandela was involved in hunger strikes and other events that led to better conditions for the South African prison system. Nelson Mandela served one term as president and was the first non-white head of state. In 1995, he established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which investigated human rights and violations under the South African government. He also introduced housing, education, and economic development initiatives designed to improve the living standards of the black population, often in large numbers. Mandela did not seek a second term as president and was succeeded in 1999 by Thabo Mbeki. He is often regarded as the greatest leader in South African history. In 1999, when he was in Johannesburg, he worked with the Nelson Mandela Foundation to help combat HIV/AIDS. In December of 1997, he transferred the leadership of the party to his successor, Thabo Mbeki. Even after retirement, he maintained a strong internal presence as an advocate of peace, reconciliation, and social justice. He was a founding member of the Elders, a group of international leaders established in 2007 for the promotion of conflict resolution and problem solving throughout the world. Nelson Mandela died from a lung and respiratory infection on December 5, 2013. He passed away in his homes with all of his friends and family near him. 3 hours later, the current South African president, Jacob Zuma, announced his death on national television. For the next 10 days, South Africa as a whole was in a state of national mourning until the funeral for Mr. Mandela. Thousands of people from dozens of countries around the world attended the funeral in Johannesburg, including U.S. President Barack Obama, Cuban President Raul Castro, Prime Minister of Italy Enrico Letta, and many others from Africa and around the world.